Back in August, I get a call from a guy named Sam. He tells me about his 2006 GTO, twin turboed, got all kinds of goodies on it, kind of perked my ears up. This was a recommendation from Eric over at Automotive Machine and Supply, my local machine shop who I really trust. So I told him bring the car on over. As I diagnosed it, I wasn't sure it would make good content, so I didn't record much of what I started with, and I think I should have. This is a case of deep pockets, and the best parts don't necessarily make the best build. Stick around to see what we do with it. So as we got Sam's GTO apart, I was trying to film stuff, and I had a little bit of time crunches, different things, and I really didn't do a good job documenting disassembly of this one. It was kind of a little tough. I was working in my shop that I don't have a lift in because my lift was full on the other side. So it was just kind of a little bit of a mess. But I wanted to show you guys here exactly the way this thing was set up. And we've got, again, good parts. Some of the best parts, especially for the time frame that this was built. As far as parts execution and what they picked, we're going to go probably an 8.5 or 9 on parts. Execution, we're going to say about a 1.5, maybe 1 star. Again, just like Amazon, if you give it 0, you give it a 0, but the least you can give it is a 1. So here's what we've got here. So let's start back here with the turbos. So we've got a really nice Borg-Warner turbo here, and it's got bullseye exhaust housings on it. So these T3 exhaust housings at the time were, bar none, some of the best. Anybody who knows anything about a turbo system knows that feed and drain need to be as close to perpendicular as possible, straight up and down. The further you clock it over, the worse your drain is going to be. And most turbo manufacturers will tell you 0 degrees is best, maximum 15 degrees. This is literally the way these things were sitting in there. They may have clocked upwards like so a little bit in the car, but the angles are almost exactly where they were. So if you look at this one, there's the feed. Look at the drain. Look at the angle of the drain. I mean, that could not be any further from 90 degrees. So there's that. And let's show you what 90 would have looked like if we clocked it at 90. Look at how much rotation that's going to be to be, straight up and down. Nope. So we were going to have a oil consumption problem because of that. Then you have drains coming out, and they did a good job, nice size, 10 AN, so -10. And the problem is, look at this, and this is, I set this up on this jack stand because that's about how high it's set. So all that oil had to fill all that up before that pump would start to pump. And they had the pump upside down where the motor side wasn't even up. It could have been down and cleared everything. The motor side being up and the pump side being down would have caused it where it might have worked a little better, but the pump side was up. So it had to come all the way up almost to that height to hit the pump and pump out. Then once it pumped out, it went through this line right here, all the way up here, and then this one, come on, went to the valve cover. So there was that. Then you had the intercooler piping, which rear mount setup, you're going to have a lot of piping, but it went up here and around, and rather than do a good size dual in single out, they literally come in with this kind of jankety Y, come in one side, out the other side, back up, and that's how they had that set up. And that intercooler is tiny. I wouldn't feed, I might feed 400 horsepower with that, maybe. But Guys, 400 horsepower. That LS2 bone stock made 400 horsepower. So it was just a huge choke. They had Callie's rods, Wiseco pistons, at the time probably top of the line comp cam, and they didn't do any favors with this. So that's all the mess that we pulled out. Turbo's great, parts great, execution zero, nothing. You did a horrible job. And hopefully I'm not throwing stones. I know the shop that's done it. I'm not going to say their name. So yeah, I would imagine this thing could have gotten Starful oil, and that's why it hurt something. And it's usually a cam bearing. So we'll find out here pretty quick what we got. We barely dodged the bullet with this one. Look at those mains. Nothing left. Absolutely crazy. We got the rest of the engine in here. Take y'all in here to get a look, along with everything else that I'm putting together. Build coming on that one too. You can see, I mean, they just lay in there. They won't do anything. There's no preload left. It was a nice piston and rod motor and just not set up correctly. So here, there's one of the rod bearings sitting in the rod. They shouldn't do this. Yeah, no tension left on it. None of them spun, but it was very close. Well, we're in here with Sam's LS2 out of his GTO, and we're about to get started on building it. We finally got all the parts from the machine shop and everything bought. So I'll walk you through what the build's going to be, and then we'll get started on it. So we're starting off with a set of flat top, hard anodized coated pistons, coated skirts, all that good stuff. Block has been bored 20 over, line board, and basically cleaned up. Nothing crazy. The decks were good, all that, so we're happy there. So I'll wipe it down here in a minute, get the cam bearings knocked in. For cam bearings, we're going to go with a set of the wide coated cam bearings here. Got a set of Hastings rings. It's what I like for a naturally aspirated build. And we got a set of reconditioned connecting rods, just factory floating pin rods there. Let's see, we got crankshaft is balanced, the flywheel, clutch, everything is balanced to the assembly. The cam that we're going to use, and people are probably going to hate on this, but that's the Summit part number. It is a stage 3 truck cam. So that cam is going to be really good for drivability, all that good stuff. We've got a Melling M365 pump. So that's the late model, basically a factory high volume pump. We've got a set of Summit lifters and trays, and oh, that's the timing chain tensioner, not tensioner, dampener. And there you go. So that's basically it. We got new timing chain, all new bearings. We went with King bearings, the HP bearings, the PMAX Black, and that's it. So let's get set up. Let's get this thing knocked out. Right in the middle. Perfect. Checked all my clearances, and we are all lined up right at 1.5 thou. So 1.5 thou is just about perfect, especially naturally aspirated. This thing will spend right about 6,000, 6,200. Not gonna have any crank flex issues or anything, so it's about perfect. Right what I want. I like it when they set up right. Learned from a guy who used to build top fuel engines years and years ago. He used transmission fluid. So this is my bucket I soak clutches in, and I just dip the piston in there, put my handy dandy piston ring compressor on, drop the extension in the bucket, because that's what you do. Good thing about transmission fluid, it cleans everything, so that means I'm clean, right? Fine. All clear. Okay. Now let's take a look at that. It's like perfect. Like it's made for it. There's something I'm not used to seeing. And I'm not saying it's a horrible idea, but there's better things out there. Is somebody tapped this for a 3H pipe plug right here. And did an alright job, but when I tore this thing apart, that hole was just packed full of silicone. So we're going to use some, you can't even see the label on this, it's so old, but this is Teflon sealer, liquid Teflon. Here's where all the carnage got left behind. Look at all that pretty stuff on the pan baffle. I don't think I've ever had a GTO engine apart. Is that factory? If it is, that's pretty slick. But anyway, you can see here there's some silicone right there. And then look at all the silicone. Look at this. Really? Come on, guys. And then there's where all the really good stuff is. Boy, oh boy, it's thick and gritty. Not what you'd want to see in your engine. So we'll get that all cleaned out, and you can even, you can almost hear it. Make nice paint. That's a little better. Well, I am going to replace that pressure relief just with the plug. I like to do that on all these builds that I do. And then you don't have to worry about any pressure problems. I've never seen any issues with it. And some of the pans, so the muscle car pan, when you buy that, it actually has a plug in it, like a freeze plug knocked down in there. So the Hummer H3 or muscle car pan, whatever you want to call it. But yeah. That's when I got that idea, and then I start looking around and people make them, but a drain plug, a short drain plug, M14150, I think is what it is. Screws down in there, throw a little Loctite on it. Good to go. All right. We're going to keep working away on this. I'm just about done for the night because I don't have a drain plug for that. And I'm going to get the baffle here put back in the pan. I don't think that's stock for some reason, but could be. So we're gonna, wrong way. We'll get that put in there, and I think once that's bolted in, I'm gonna call it a night. But yeah, got silicone off the pan, all that stuff, and again, guys, stay away from that tube of silicone. Got the pressure relief out of here, and this is one of the oil mods that I always recommend on any of the Gen 4 motors. And like I said, some of them have like a little freeze plug that they knock in there, but I'll get a very shallow M14 1.5 right there drain plug. I'll put one of those rubberized washers on there, and you can get those out at AC kits and stuff like that, or in your drain plug aisle at your parts store. And then I'll put a little Loctite on those threads, put that guy down in there. Whoa, earthquake. And I'll put that guy down in there, screw it in, and she's ready to go. We got her hanging ready to go back in, and we're gonna get the flywheel and clutch put back on. Eric over at the machine shop, he had me bring the flywheel and everything in, and he balanced it to this rotating assembly. So we're we're gonna get her set up right where he said. He marked everything for me. And on an LS, you've got this hole right here, and that hole just kind of denotes, and then there's one corresponding on the flywheel. So yeah, that's kind of our mark. There's no dowel or anything on an LS, but yeah, we're gonna get her lined up and get it put back together and drop it in today. Making progress. Here's a fancy schmancy little tool, and that's a flywheel holder. So it bolts on in place of the starter, and those teeth right here, they keep that flywheel from turning. And this is one of those super high-tech fancy ones from China.
China. You take China. China. I love them.
So Amazon special. If I can find it where I bought it, I will leave a link in the description. If not, just search on Amazon for the China LS flywheel holder. China. Go. Quite a bit of progress today. We got the engine in, got the accessory drive all buttoned up. I changed the oil in the AC compressor, so drained all that out, put fresh PAG oil in it. Headers are bolted up, and looks like tomorrow we should be able to fire this thing up, and hopefully everything's all right. I don't see why it wouldn't be, but whoa. You guys that do this for a living or even as a hobby, you know anything can happen. So even new parts, assembly error, all kinds of stuff. But you know, I don't see anything happening. But we shall see tomorrow. Should be able to fire it up and get this one out of here. So once it's fired up, though, we're going to have to put exhaust on it because it's got resonators in the back. But remember, it had turbos on it, and I cut them off from right in that area right there. So about midway in the car. And we'll do that. And then also we need to fix up the mid-pipe. This mid-pipe has the wastegates on it. So I'm going to get rid of those. I'll just cut them off and weld a patch plate on there. Just take a piece of pipe and wrap it around there and weld it. And yeah, we'll be in good shape, ready to go. Looking forward to having this one done and out of here. And then maybe I can get started on old Blue. Okay, we're getting the last of this intercooler piping and all this mess out of here. And it still blows me away in all the great parts and stuff that they used. Not a flare one on any of these pipes. I mean, they're just cut and nothing on them in there. Filthy with oil, Well, she's just about ready to go. I don't have the radiator or the fans in there, but other than that, we're good. Got the charger on it because the battery was dead. Imagine that, something sitting for this long and battery's dead. No exhaust. So, open headers. That's it. Just straight open headers. But yeah, it'll work good enough. I cycled the key on, and there's how much oil's been sitting in that pump for the turbos, and it spit it everywhere, but whatever. All right, we're gonna fire it up and see what the charger's telling us. She's charging away. That's good. Okay, we'll just run it for a minute and see what happens. I'll put y'all on the tripod, and I apologize for the wind. It is fall, and the wind I can't control. Get ready. It's gonna be loud. Yep, that battery's dead. That probably kicked an error. You know, if you plug these in, it usually sparks a little better. Come on. Got the other one in there. It might start now. Alright, let's see what we got. Okay. She's alive. These, and they're just kind of they're a slip fit. They're designed to be clamped, but yeah, not gonna do it. But yeah, that's how they're gonna sit, and then you can see there how that will exit, and then it'll kind of go down from here. It'll kind of go down and out, clear everything. And going down dirt roads, it makes cool swirlies in the dirt. right, GTO's up and running, mechanical, all done. Tuning time. So we're gonna we've already got it locked into open loop speed density. So no mass airflow controlling anything, no oxygen sensors controlling anything. We get a feedback from the wideband and we make adjustments based on that. Here's the mess that you kind of have to do when you're tuning. Pull the wiring in here. I've got a wideband that I have wired up to the harness is hooked up to a cigarette lighter plug, hooked into the OBD2 port. AEM wideband, they're fairly inexpensive, very accurate. I've got that hooked into my EFI Live connection and trusty laptop. Let's fire this guy up. If I can find where I put the keys. There we go. And then we shall see. If it was any richer, it'd be Donald Trump, baby. Rich. So we'll probably pick up some hers purrs with that. I've been going over this tune for this GTO, and I tell you, so they had turbos, and if you look at this on the map sensor scaler, so let's look here, and this will explain it to you. So the map sensor scaler 94, 429, 4297. So, and if you look here, it says 1 bar map sensor 92, 42. 2 bar map sensor 188. They don't even have a 2 bar map sensor on this thing. They couldn't run this thing in boost and actually fuel it right. Well, I do believe this GTO is done. Shut up, Rooster. And anyway, but yeah, we got the engine all done, got everything dialed in, washed it up real quick, got a few little loose ends taken care of, changed the oil, got all that done. And now we're going to go on the last drive before we turn it loose. I think Sam's going to be real happy with this one. Let's see what she sounds like.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, I love the thing. It's just as fast as it was.
That's great. That is great.
I like the whole sound and just the smooth power the whole way.
Good.
Yeah. And I started going sideways.
Oh no.
Yep.
So this is your replacement?
Yes. Well, this is number 5.
Oh wow.
This is 5.
You've had 5 of these.
Yep.
Wow.
I'd always buy them, then I'd sell them.
Yep.
And then wrecked that one. That was the second or third one. And anyway, wound up going sideways. Fortunately, on my side, I hit a telephone pole right dead center left rear hub.
Oh wow.
Which is good. That's where it is.
Yeah.
But
Solid.
that was a sobering moment.
Ooh, yeah.
And I learned a lesson. And thank the Lord. And it's like, okay.
Wow.
I don't need to be stupid.
That's right.
You know.
I think he liked it.
Just got my 06 GTO back from Autovations, Cleveland, Texas by Brian Johnson. He